Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. We can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. It is Thursday. Bond yields are higher. I'm happy. So, how are you guys doing? Let's go to the charts. Volume profile, E-mini. Hold on. What? I can't see things. Okay. Water bottle's in the way. So here you can see the S&P 500 yesterday. Hitting a little hitch with the FOMC meeting. A lot of volatility, but then in the overnight, up. And it looks like the market is largely more concerned about Evergrande than it is anything else. So the movement in the E-mini, I think, reflects largely that. I think you're also seeing a little bit of the same in ZN. So on the news, there was initially we moved lower, but then we went higher and then we went lower. I don't know. It was all over the place after the FOMC. This looks to me, like Gary Norton said in the interview that we did, the Treasury looks to me like a systemic short. And so when we get some downside, like it can go, and it probably is going to go that way, but it's like a crowded trade too. So we get like really deep pullbacks and the liquidity is still not very good. So we get like really deep pullbacks. That said, I took a short, went long rates and I held it, and I'm up $50 now. So I'm happy about that. I also want to note that there's a little bit of flattening in the yield curve here, particularly over on the 30-year end of the curve. All right. So that's important because we would expect things to steepen a little bit, and that's not what happened. We want them to steepen because the 30-year rates aren't very high. And that kind of suggests that the risk premium is still very, very low, minimal. Okay. Oil kind of all over the place yesterday, but I think largely because of the dollar. So, but moving down a little bit this morning. NG, I don't know. Look at that. That kind of looks like maybe he's ready to go for another little attempt at $5. What do you think? Natural gas. Okay, now gold was interesting because after the announcement, there was initially they bought gold. I don't know what these guys are. Who's making that trade? Whoever, if you are the fund manager that after the Federal Reserve statement came out, you said, I want to buy gold, you're dumb. You should quit. Because, like, seriously, that makes zero sense. But eventually gold did move down. Moved back off of that. They're trying to crawl their way back, though. I don't know. Like, I do think that gold could make its way back up to 1800, even with the hawkish Fed. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Silver, kind of the same thing. Copper did well yesterday, but kind of ranging today. And then we come over to the currencies. So here again with Bitcoin, they thought that it was hawkish, I guess, like, or they thought that the hawkish Fed was good, which again, like, it makes zero sense. But whatever, came back. It's a little bit higher. Okay, but the dollar, initially got stronger, but then got much weaker, which, no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. So initially they got stronger, and then they got much weaker, but then ultimately they moved higher, especially here in the overnight session. So you get this situation where a lot of the moves that we saw immediately after the meeting, after the release, looked very bad. Like, just they were the opposite of what you would expect it to have happen, but then eventually they did move the right way, and I think that we could get some extension here this morning, but When I switch over to the Financial Juice webpage, all of those siren alerts that are saved up that are supposed to go off when the news happens are like saved in play, and that's what that was. I hope that didn't destroy your hearing. Anyways, we do have the jobless claims, right? Jobless claims, Canadian retail sales. Let's see here. U.S. initial jobless claims, expected reading of 320K versus a previous reading of 332, and this could really move our market. We also are going to have, we also got Chicago National Activity Index. That's not one that we look at very often. Wheat and soybean exports. And later we've got services PMIs. So, well, actually, just market PMIs rather. So that's what we got for today. It could be a good day for us in rates. That said, I took a lot of risk yesterday and I kind of want to relax. So I took off one contract and we'll see what happens. And good morning, everybody. Hey, a couple of new names in there. Jashan Magna, that's new. Anwar, you're fairly new, but you were here earlier in the week, right? Something I wish I was better with was remembering names. I'm not very good at remembering names because, we don't get a ton of viewers here. We get like 24 is actually like really, really good. But when you compare it to streamers that have thousands of people, you know what I mean? And I'm in the position that, to know everybody that's here in the stream and to have like a real community, and sometimes I have a hard time remembering people's names, and I find that distressing. I had a hard time finding good entries yesterday because most were 1 to 3 seconds after that website FOMC. Yeah, it was tough, man. Although you're typically going for the shorts, right? You're typically going for shorts in ES, and that would be real tough, right? Okay, so let's get everything ready here. We're going to have... Okay, so remember 230 was the number, the expected number. So reset everything here. I can see basically everything in the micro treasuries bold. Still waiting on the initial jobless claims. Okay, higher than expected, 351. Let's come over here and look at that number a little bit more, huh? Okay, so in terms of a miss, it's not a crazy miss, right? We've had worse misses. Even as recently as August. So like 3 weeks ago. Let's see here. August 26th. Let's go back and look at that. Well, on August 26th, the S&P 500 on August 26th, the S&P 500 after the news did not really move all that much, but then later in the session moved down. So that doesn't particularly tell us a whole lot about what to do with this piece of news. But let us go into the report itself. What? I have to pick it? I have to find the report now? Boo. That's quite high, but not enough to make the Fed worry. I agree. I mean, the jobs number is still going to matter more, right? It's a tough call. Like, is it worth giving up my position? I don't know. We're still higher than we were, like, just when we barely started the stream. So, I don't know. At one point, we were at 60, so I don't know. Okay, do I really have to go to the bureau? I have to... That's weird. It's never done that to me before. Like, the latest release has just always been there. What does it come from? Office of Unemployment? It's not from labor statistics, is it? Is it? Any? Apply? All releases? September 22nd? There's nothing showing up on the 23rd. You're going to have to give me the link. It's still, you say it's still along in the ES, you mean? I think I agree with you. I think that for the ES that I would still rather be long. By the way, let's turn on the robot. Let us turn on the robot. Dude, yesterday he did so effing amazing. Was like, I turned him off for a little bit because he started to take a trade against a trend that I didn't really like. But then it didn't really do anything anyways. So it would have been okay. But I did save a little bit of money by turning him off. But then I turned him back on. And he made another like $800 or something. So that thing overall for the day made like $1,600. And then like everything together was like 2,000. Like all of my sim trades and everything. It was pretty good. I was really impressed. I was like, okay. And Jay just traded it like it was catching the turns. Like I was looking for a predictive signal and something that gives us a good spot, and it was giving us a good spot. I think that the longer term stats kind of suggest that you don't always get so lucky on your entry, but yeah, he was trading ES. Yeah, anyways, I do think that the ES is probably still along, largely because the market is just going to be relieved about the Evergrande thing. Now, there is still some caution out there about this, right? Because China's basically saying, like, prepare for if something happens, but they don't think something's going to happen. They have, like, a plan and everything. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here is the data. In the week ending September 18th, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims was 351,000, an increase of 16,000 from the previous week's revised level. The previous week's level was revised up by 3,000 from 332 to 335. The 4-week moving average was 335,750, an decrease of 750 from the previous week's revised average. The previous week's average was revised up by 750 from 335,750 to 336. So to not only was this up, but all of their revisions were up as well. Well, I'm going to put this out. I have a hard time justifying having any risk on it at the moment. $50 is really good. $50 on a micro trade is really good. I think that they're going to move higher. The advanced season adjusted insured unemployment rate was 2.1% for the week ending September 11th, an increase of spot 1 percentage point from the previous week's revised rate. The previous week's rate was revised up by spot 1 from 1.9 to 2%. The advanced number for seasonally adjusted insured unemployment during the week ending September 11th was 2,845,000, an increase of 131,000. Blah, 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 blah. Show me the one. Where's the, yeah, here we go. California, pretty big increase. Oh, whoa, wait, what? In Virginia. Oh, that's weird. That's interesting. When you combine those two together, it accounts for more than the change. So, Unadjusted, it's actually even worse. So that's interesting. Yeah, I think it did the right thing. Look, we would have been a little bit lower now. NASDAQ trader, good morning. Well, we do have some PMIs and so forth today. Now, those might be hot. But until that happens, I don't know. The jobs, the last jobs report wasn't very good. The jobless claims that we're getting still aren't very good. Everything kind of suggests that growth is going to be difficult from here on out. And I'm a little concerned about what the next job report actually says. There is kind of this question about how bad would it have to be to prevent the Federal Reserve from tapering, though, is like the big question. I don't know. Hey. Ninja Trader approved your account? Really? Wait, so have you been trading it on Sim through Ninja Trader for a while, though, Win? That's a big step. She's been watching for a long time. I still kind of feel something poking me on my mouse pad. I'm trying to figure out what it is. I guess I just need to get a new mouse pad. Maybe one with that's softer. I do like this material. It's like corduroy. Applied 2 days ago. Oh, are you going to move over to Ninja Trader? So by the way, on the data thing, I asked them. Oh, okay.
Who commented they are now approved by Ninja Trader. There, quite yet. Lol.
Oh, you're saying you missed that. I gotcha. Oh, so where are you right now, AO? Are you on AMP? Yeah, from AMP. Gotcha. Yeah. I do, just especially now that bleh. Especially now that NinjaTrader is its own futures commissions merchant. I would say it's better than AMP, and the commissions are pretty close. So I would say that NinjaTrader brokerage is better than AMP. Both of them, they're not the greatest service, honestly, but not the greatest ever. I don't think that they're as good as like what you would get from like Optimus. Those Optimus guys, they know their shit. But like, especially just even being able to like transfer money from the ACH is so much nicer. You still kept IBKR. You know, that I think that's the way to do it, though. Yeah, I think so. IBKR margins are huge. Yeah, they don't give you very good margin. Or you know, it's not as good for futures. I mean, you can do it, but it's not the best. Which kind of makes you wonder, though. Like, is IBKR really the best for doing options? You know, I think that maybe it is, but I don't know. What do you think? If you're only going to be trading options in stock, do you think it's better to go to Interactive Brokers or Thinkorswim? I don't know. I know this is a tough one. I think that Thinkorswim's platform is stronger. Thinkorswim has a pretty sweet platform, if we're honest. Like, every time that somebody comes and asks me to convert an indicator from Thinkorswim to NinjaTrader, I'm a little annoyed. But if I'm honest, it is a good platform. so I don't know. Yeah, they might come back. I don't know. The software is lousy, IB. My understanding is that IB is kind of funky with the software, but there's other things that they provide data-wise and so forth that tends to be okay. So somebody just stacked a huge old offer there at 26. Well, it's not huge, but it was relatively large, and it's pushing them down again. Ace wants to be short the ES? Okay. I think that makes sense. One thing that is a little weird, can I show you? Here, let me show you. So if we come over to, this is my inventory cost basis indicator that you get if you're if you join the channel for $5 a month. You access this. Yeah, thank you for the link. Yes, and she has a YouTube video just linking to the YouTube video describing what they are. But basically what this tries to do is it tries to estimate market maker positioning, right? And when you look at the market maker positioning in the overnight session, notice how the dotted lines aren't very far away from the solid line, right? That kind of suggests to me that the market makers didn't take very much position overnight. Like, they weren't absorbing many contracts. They were just pulling and letting it move where it wanted to move. Now, I don't know what's coming in here and pushing the treasuries down here besides that order, but they are pushing into new lows, so we'll see. I think that for me, I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little FOMO. Like, I want those treasuries to move down more, but I don't really have a good reason for it to be doing right now, other than just carry over from yesterday's trade. But I think that our news that we got there was not very supportive of rates rising. I don't see it moving on much volume here. It looks like market makers pulling and offers stacking, which can be how it goes down sometimes. Oh man, you see I'm having like the flashbacks of all of these times where treasuries moved down on me without me, and I missed it. I was like, oh no, the rise in rates finally happened. Oh, I missed it. Let's see. But anyways, back here to this chart. That says to me that the S&P 500 could pretty much go wherever it wants. So like there's not a lot of positioning already on there to work with. But if market orders come in and start pushing it in a certain direction, they will probably get their way. So it might be, I don't know if that means that we'll get a strong trend, but it should mean that we should be able to get, the 8 ticks or whatever. What is NASDAQ saying here? I doubt if they trade. So on TikTok, I've come across 3 or 4 like girls that claim to be traders. They're all stocks and stuff. So I don't know how active or serious they actually are, but I will say that here on the channel, long before you came here, NASDAQ trader, it was long before your day, but I can think of 2 or 3 women that came in here and were futures trading. In particular, we had an older lady. What was her name? Was it Fran? I think it was. She was here for a long time. I don't think that she trades anymore. But she showed us some really great trades. I tell you what. I think at one point she was scalping the Ultra 30, and I was like really impressed with what she was doing with it. So she was good, but she died right here on the stream. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. Okay, so yesterday there was, I don't want to go into the statistic that prompted the conversation because it kind of opens up a conspiracy theory that I'm not personally interested in talking about right now. But then people in the comments were talking about this other conspiracy theory that there's a parasite that lives in mice, and that parasite makes mice attracted to the smell of a cat. And so the mice will go and seek out the cat. And apparently humans can pick up that parasite as well. And so the theory is that cat ladies are attracted to cat. Yeah, toxoplasma. That's exactly what it's called. Yeah. So the theory is that old cat ladies have this parasite, and that's why they like cats so much. And that it's that parasite trying to take over the world. Humans can pick it up. It makes us like cats. Something like that. It was a conspiracy. Yeah. There was this other so the conspiracy theory was that the reason that they're against ivermectin is because it would kill certain parasites that people have. But it was, and there was a stat. I looked it up. I was like, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to talk about it. Maybe if we were an on stream, I would love to see what Ace thinks about it, because I was really surprised by the stat, and I looked it up and it was real. But I don't know. Dangerous to talk about on YouTube. It makes us take more risk, apparently. Anyways, to the subject though, there have been a lot of studies about the difference between female money managers and male money managers and things like that. That kind of show that women have some natural approaches to risk management that are extremely beneficial and would be extremely beneficial, especially for like day trading. Now, the downside is that they don't like to take risk, and you have to take risk, and the testosterone kind of encourages you to take risks, right? But if you're a woman and you understand that, and you deal with it, then you can be very, very successful trading. Apparently. And then there's Kathy who just whammed. Yeah. You know what? You just see all that thing, like Kathy was buying Tesla and buying Tesla and buying Tesla, and now she's like dumping it. She's like getting rid of a ton of it. But I think, we could do the analysis. I don't want to pull up a chart of it right now, but I think we could go back and look at where all of her buys were, and you would see that even though her buys and sells had an impact on the stock, that because of her impact, that they actually lost money from doing that. So how much did I miss out on? 44. Oh, I missed out on a lot, actually. I missed out on 20 ticks. That was some fast. Yeah, it's reasonably fast typing. I would just get out with 2, honestly. I can't make a decision. Like, I probably shouldn't give advice like that, but I think that the E-mini is liable to fidget around both ways here. Could see a decline though. Totally discarded jobless numbers like not my business. I know, right?
Winston's mom says traders, please take a quick second to hit the like button for Speculators its channel numbers, or if you would like a waffle from at Ace Trades just don't ask him to braid your hair first. Thanks.
Democratic leaders racing towards a Monday infrastructure vote. Okay. Okay, so I am seeing a potential pocket here. So we may get it to stop and come back to 24. Wait, what are you saying, Dennis? I was going to like it, but I really wanted to get my hair braided. What? I didn't see Win. I didn't listen to Win's message. Don't ask him to braid your hair. Oh, I got. I mean, supposedly he's not the greatest at it, which suggests that one of the kids have complained. Ace says, I can be great or we can eliminate tears. I just can't do both. Oh, was that what? Oh, man. You know what? If I had the time, I do have the time. I don't know, man. I'm lazy. You know what? Like I've been thinking the past few days, like I went for a long time being like really motivated and really trying to use my free time and doing stuff. Like when I read the Trades, Quotes, and Prices book, right? But then, you know, I've taken some breaks off on some days and I just haven't been doing a whole lot, but more focusing on family and stuff in the evenings, you know? And now I'm kind of feeling like a worthless piece of crap, especially since I didn't do a video last week. Didn't really work because of everything else that was going on. But yeah, I do really want to make a new video, but there's a bunch of different ones I need to make, and I'm not sure which one I should make. And I gotta do more scripting. I gotta like really do some writing today. I got like some outlines and stuff, but I really need to do some writing. But if I had the time, I think it would be fun to learn how to do all of those super fancy braids. You ever seen some of the waterfall braids? And you can do crazy stuff with it. One small step for dads, one giant headache relief for downers. Okay, well, that bounce right there and the way that it behaved at 20.5. So when I was looking at it, did I say they might have made the hole here? They might have to bounce a little bit. So let's see what they do. Remember, it was 26 where they stacked up at. So we may see things come back up and get another opportunity to go short. So this might extend a little bit more, but I don't want to participate here based on the flow. Oh, I love it. Analytic posted a thing about how to tell if somebody's a fraud. They've made public claims but won't provide a verified log. They trade multiple accounts but only show you results from one account. They have many missing gaps in the sequence of broker statements. They have only a small set of broker statements but claim to have traded for many years. They mostly do private live streams. Oh, real? I haven't seen that. They only show the upward sloping part of their equity curve and never the full curve. Constantly lie and threaten to sue people who expose their lies. I always have tons of excuses for their losses. Do I have tons of excuses for my losses? Do I excuse myself too much when I no, I don't think I do. When I got slaughtered, I mean, like I got slaughtered like 2 weeks ago, right? Like that was all me, full responsibility. Now this trade that I got today or yesterday, it's more. So I think that I can say that I am doing okay. Like I could still be on I could still be on track, but definitely those losses, we need to limit those more, huh? If you politely disagree with them, they will insult you and then ban you from the... I really like arguing with people. That's probably one of my bigger problems too, huh? Oh look, I won in their crypto giveaway. Freaking spam on Discord. I have a friend on Facebook that was bragging about outperforming the indexes, and I noticed his screenshot was from E-Trade and was on the 3-month time frame, and I said, hit that 2-year time frame button and then talk. Avoid arguing and make factual statements. I agree. I think you're right, Captain. That, like, the thing that I've noticed on TikTok is like to start out, you've got to say something that's like, okay, this is something that you're going to be interested in. You make a statement about what it is that you're going to talk about that immediately keys them in as, oh, I want to pay attention to this. Or you make a controversial factual statement. Like if I started a TikTok that said price is bullshit, that would probably get attention. I have made some TikToks that were kind of to that effect, so I don't know. That big order has moved down from 26 to 22. Did I see it? Can I see it over here? Did I see it move? Did not see it move. Interesting. Okay, so that uptick in some of them moved away at 22. There's a decent sized pull, 21.5, but then they didn't trade up. But now it's like almost 5K. Should see me get death threats on my Facebook private messages from an army of ninja traders denigrating the platform and rhythmic. I'd be able to make a video called How to Make the Economy Great Again. All it takes is putting me a short order in and watching the bar go to the opposite direction 200% in a few seconds. Isn't that the way it goes then? So, so like freaking yesterday, right? This has happened to me a bunch of times. I'm not quite sure if I'm doing the right thing. I'll get a trade and I'm absolutely convinced that it's the right direction, and I'll get like a really good move in my favor that then comes back very quickly. So I'm not really able to take any profits on it, not even sequential profits on it, because it's just, I don't know, I'm too flat-footed sometimes. So then it's like they start pressuring my position, and it's almost like they're not willing to go simply because I'm in. But if I stay in for multiple days, then all of a sudden it's like they forget about me, and then it ends up moving my direction, like we've seen this morning. It's really hard to not feel like that the market is trying to get you sometimes. U.S. median home price registered double-digit increase during the 4-week period ending. Yes, that was earlier. It says I'm in the kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. Where you left it on? I forget. Were you short? S&P 500 just dipped below 4,400. So I think if you were still short, you were short 44.11. So then that's really good. That went really well. Yeah. 44.11, that's good. Yeah, we're like right at 4,400. So sometimes you feel like a genius, and other times intellectually challenged. Well, the whole thing is like, was there really a reason for it to move? Like, because you can get lucky for sure. I think this one with Ace, like I think these are good conditions for him, right? Like I'm not so sure that I'm gonna see that we're gonna see like a trend all the way down to overnight lows, which would be like 43.85 per se. I mean, it's possible, but I think that's actually quite likely to maybe bounce between 4,400 and 4,410 quite a bit. But there's like the liquidity is kind of pulling out of the way. Like, I just think that the conditions are really great to get like a good long swing like that, and then probably get them both ways several times. So that first one going well is good. I probably should have taken it with the E-mini, but I'm still more focused on what's going on here in the Treasury. So don't want to miss any of that downside in the Treasury. Should have held the short. Man. The news got me out. And then somebody came in short. You know what happens though? So just note this happens, right? Like, this is a real strong pattern, I guess you could say. It's not a pattern that you can see with only price though. Like, if there's a really solid reason for an asset to be moving in a certain direction, you will very often see the false move. It's like here in the Treasury, there's a good reason for the interest rates to be rising because the Federal Reserve is being hawkish. Okay. But we just had a piece of news that kind of contradicted it. So the rates backed off a little bit, right? The rates backed off a little bit, and then all of a sudden that's when like the real down move came. So it's like the big players, they wait for a move that is against what they think should happen before they take it.
Winston's mom says Ace Trades is now taking your breakfast orders, traders. What would you like for breakfast? Waffles are on special today. Hit the like button to place your order now. Your weiteres thanks you.
By the way, I've been wondering how Ace makes his waffles, because there's this new stuff that's been showing up in the grocery stores here in Utah called Lehigh Roller Mills, and they have a waffle mix that I think is really impressive for like a pre-made waffle mix. You got to know what those big whales want. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is, I feel like. I mean, my take is basically like you got to know what the big players are going to do before they do it, right? Can you talk about execution of large orders techniques in futures? Sure. So I'm going to try and simplify it here for you so that in the context of this move that we just made, because the move that we just made is like just a really, really great example, right? The issue for somebody executing a really large order is that there just isn't enough liquidity, right? Like, we retail traders, we look at this and we're like, there's 5,000 contracts at H price and that's so much, but man, when you're trading like 100,000 contracts or whatever it is that they're doing here, it's not enough liquidity. The secret is making sure those little squares are filled with butter and syrup. Oh, dude, I have a waffle iron all picked up. I gave it to my wife. I told her, this is what I want for Christmas. If I don't get it for Christmas, I'm going to be very disappointed. I think she's going to get it. Anyways, okay. The issue is there's not enough liquidity, right? Now, if you move the market makers pull, right? Because they don't want to take liquidity against you. Okay. So it doesn't make sense for you to come in and start selling and just sell all the way down to like 16 all at once, right? Because what's going to happen? The market makers are going to start saying, well, screw this. I'm not going to get in the front of this. They're going to pull. And then you don't have any flow to hit into, right? So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to end up moving the market more than you want. And then as soon as you're done with your meta order, it's going to snap back hard on you and you're going to lose all of those profits. So you don't want to do that, right? So here, what they do instead is as soon as the order book starts to become stressed, they're going to back off, right? So if we do a situation where like we come down to 21, you could see it at 21, we trade a big amount. And then after we traded that big amount, like inside bids and offers are like just really, really low. You know, they're not even willing to put up 500 contracts on the inside, right? That's kind of your sign that the order book is stressed. So usually what you will see at that point is a pullback. They will pull back a little bit and maybe they'll move a little bit lower. And they actually kind of did that in this instance, right? They went to 21. The first move was I think it was at 22. Yeah, I think that it was first at 22 or 21 and a half, and then they pushed a little bit further, but then since then they've kind of been stuck here, right? So that is kind of the sign that the order book got stressed and they've created a liquidity hole. So then they just let it dawdle around in the liquidity hole for a little bit. And then if the meta order backs off, you should see the post meta order impact, which would be it coming back. And then maybe if they still have more in like 45 minutes, an hour and a half, something like that, they'll come back and they'll sell more, right? So that's why when I came in here, I was like, oh, well, I missed it. That was so fast. I didn't really have a reason. But then once, so like, what was it? 26 was the point at which I thought I could take a short, but I don't have a reason to do it. But I saw that stack and I said, well, that might be significant. And they started moving off of it. So that made me think, okay, maybe but then we're at 23, right? And then, so now I'm like, okay, could this continue? Maybe I could take an order in. But then okay, no, I don't want to do that. I want to let it come back up. If we could get back up to 26, then maybe I might get back in or something. So that's why I did it the way that I did. Do they favor executing at limits, right? Well, you to the point that I was making earlier, we had the job news come in and, they were moving up at first. They were moving up at first before that meta order came in. So there is very often a move the opposite way before the meta order comes in. Yes. It's kind of odd, especially in the treasury. It's just, they're very tricky. Like, that's really what it comes down to. They're very, very tricky. You're long in the bond at 07? For why? I don't know. This is an interesting place to take it from. I wonder, by the way, if we come back over here into ZB. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so 05 was a spot. I don't know. There's like a lot of levels if you come back to like a volume profile chart. Like, yeah, you could probably pick benchmark levels all over the place. 31, it was one spot that's kind of interesting, right? If it wasn't for the jobs number being so bad, well, continuing to be bad, I would be looking for treasuries to hit new lows, and now I'm not really sure where they go from here. Where did you learn your trade class course or just experience? Well, so I think a lot of it is experience, but really what I'm doing is I'm reading scholarly studies about order flow and then applying it to what I see on the tape here, right? Because kind of what happens is these guys, they have these mathematical models and everything to like prove that a certain behavior is a thing, but I don't think that they necessarily understand how it works in terms of like you're actually executing or like how the banks actually use this. And so I've kind of been able to piece together the different pieces of knowledge that I have to get that kind of picture that you get, right? Because the things that you heard me say, you've probably seen discussion either in a Jigsaw video or in No BS day trading about some of these kind of like signals, like them stacking at 26 and then a trend starting. That's totally a No BS trading setup, right? That they stack and it moves. And then the same with like there being an iceberg down here, big trade down here. That's another thing that they look at. But the whole thing that's like the big order happens and then it creates a liquidity hole is probably not something that you hear a whole lot, right? And what I'm doing is I'm realizing, okay, these are the things that the retail traders have picked up on, but they don't have the full picture because they don't understand it the way that the scholars do. Once you combine it with the scholarly knowledge, then you see that hole. Probably sharing more information with you than I should. Because I think that one in particular is like a really solid edge for a retail trader, but based on order flow. The only problem is that for you to make money off of that, you've got to know that there's a meta order, right? So And I don't know if there's more to it or not. Like I'm not sure. Even if it comes back up to 26, I'm not entirely sure that I can feel confident in taking a short there. I don't know. I do this sometimes where like I will get a really good trade and then I'll quit, for the day, and or should have kept going, When you're getting market by order data, I don't know, man. One of the things is that I would definitely be more anxious to get it if I had the ability to see it inside of NinjaTrader. Because when I get MBO data, I'm gonna have to write it myself, I'm still learning the 1+1s before getting to the big boy formulas. Yeah. Well, I tell you, like that, what I just told you is pretty advanced knowledge. Like, not only is that like most retail traders, like especially stock traders, they don't know anything about liquidity at all. But even the people that are liquidity, only a small portion of them would understand that kind of, because they don't talk about the square root law. Essentially, the square root law is basically that because of the way that the liquidity pulls and everything, there's a limit to how much impact you can have on the market. And because you have that limited impact, you don't really want to push it. If it was linear, every time that you bought something, 500 contracts, it would have a linear impact on the stock and you could just go on forever and ever and ever, then it would make sense to just try and move the market as much as possible, right? But once you realize that there's a limit to your impact, you want to minimize it. Holy drop Batman. Oh, is he coming back to the screen and looking at it and like, oh yeah, I got a good trade. Now on that point, I'm wondering your guys' opinion on something. Since we're coming to 7:30, is a good time to start talking about it. Is like, I want to make a video. We have like our stinger intro that is at the beginning, and it has, the most important thing is that it has the disclaimer in it. But then, it kind of gives you, it's kind of hype up and everything, and like the stream is starting. I really like that. I'm going to keep that. But I think that is better to play like right when the stream starts. But YouTube has this new thing where it will show you a video while you're waiting. And so I was thinking we could use the time while you're waiting to give more information about the stream and what to expect and so forth. What do you think? So what are some things that you think we should put in that video? Poll question. The Lehigh Roller Mills is used as a backdrop in Kevin Bacon's flick Footloose in several scenes. Is it really? So, where's my Evernote? New note here. Pre-stream video. Good morning, Lucas. Hey, did you catch any of that short action in the Treasury? I had a good short overnight. And then when the news came and it wasn't very positive, the jobless claims numbers weren't very good. I got out. Okay, Lucas, I took a bath and came back to the U.S. Treasury's dumping like the end of the world. Why is it? I don't know. So we got out, right? And I was feeling pretty good about my decision. Like I made $50 in the micros, which is good. Like $50 in micros, that's good trade, right? On 2 contracts. So I get out, and it came up a little bit too. Even like it came up like $10 or something like that. So I was feeling pretty good about my decision. But then they came to the lower end of the range, and somebody stacked at 26, and then the treasuries started dumping like the end of the world. And initially it just went through on very little volume, but then they started pushing and pushing hard. So very certain now after the fact that there was a large meta order that came through. And let's see here, it's been 30 minutes since it disappeared, so we could maybe see it continue again after the E-mini opens, or in 45 minutes if there's more to the meta order, but I don't know. So like, it was really did kind of take us by surprise. And I wish that I had held on to that. I think that I did what my strategy should, which is, because of the news, I'm not sure how far it can go. Right? Like I know that the Federal Reserve is hawkish, but I also know that bad jobs data could push that taper back. So how bad does it have to be for it to matter? Well, I don't know. All I know is that the jobless claims numbers continue to be bad, right? So, and not only that, but we got service PMIs. It's like we got the market PMIs today. So, I was thinking, well, maybe they just dawdle around until then. I don't know. So I think I did the right thing, but I missed out. That was probably like another $40, which sucks, but if I had left both contracts on, which I didn't, I would have only had one, so it really was only $20. I don't know. Still, really good move. It was 20, right? Yeah, because we got out in like the 40s. I think we got out at like 145, or one spot 345 rather. But it seems like there's more to it. I'm only making that determination based off of that given the situation, a large sell meta order like that must certainly be because the Federal Reserve is being hawkish, and as such, we would have every reason to think that there could be multiple legs to it, and that's the only reason why. But that's like hyper speculative. I don't really know for sure that there will be. I don't know, 23.5, 24 isn't bad for trying to go short again. But I think I want to wait for the PMIs.
Block sell.
Okay, so for our pre-stream video, I think that we need to mention some of the all of our promotions. So the indicator package and the Patreon are the 2 top ones. And then we also want to mention Jigsaw and the video on that. And Financial Juice and the Trading the News video. What else do we have in our video description? Oh yeah, the mug. Okay. Follow on TikTok and Twitter, Discord. So those are all of the things that we'd want to. There's the Facebook groups too, but we don't do a whole lot with that. I appreciate all you guys that joined the Facebook group too, by the way. We don't have activity there right now because we're just like, we'll let people get in, and then maybe at some point we'll make a bigger push to have more content there. I watched that video from the other day that talked about debunking visual learning styles. They disagree and have more than a few eyes, but only 200 characters at a time. Idiot group pair. Lucas asks if people still use Facebook. Yes, they do. One of the issues with Facebook is I feel like that Facebook groups have some real advantages for sure, but there are just a lot of dumb traders on Facebook. I don't know how else to put it. Like the popular Facebook groups, I just see some of the worst posts on those, man. I really can't handle posting there. And then every time that I say something, like I come in and I give them like a real help, like some idiot will come in and argue with me. Like, it's not worth it. Reddit is better. You know, I made a subreddit about order flow, but I never bothered to put stuff on it. I mean, I have such a limited attention span. I gotta focus on one thing at a time. And the one thing that I need to focus on right now is making a bunch of these videos for beginners and new people to the channel. It's just empty calories on Facebook. So what else is some things that you think would be the most useful information for somebody visiting the stream for the first time? Oh, I know. We can tell them I trade treasuries. I use the DOM, and then there's a video on that. Although we're going to make a better video for how to use the DOM.
Winston's mom says, what is something useful to tell new viewers visiting this channel for the first time?
Yeah, that's the question. But it's you tell me. What so you know, like you're a great example, Win, because you came in because of one of the political streams. What would have been the things that would have been the most useful for you to know about what you were getting yourself into? Maybe put explaining liquidity impacts on there's not a bad idea. Well, I need to make a video about that. I don't know. So what I just described to you is something that I've been sharing with you guys that are here on stream, but that I don't necessarily want to be widely disseminated. Like you'll notice I made a bunch of videos about order flow on TikTok and I didn't include that in there. Like that's something that I because of the way that the market works, that's not going to go away, right? That's a pretty structural edge that I described, but I don't want it to be widely, you know. That's like our edge. That's for the dedicated. Oh, there you go. Okay. So social currency spreads. Okay, so I'm a programmer. Okay. So we say, let's see here. I'm a programmer by day. Worked at a bank for 6 years in tech. Trading futures since 2015. Watching markets since 2008. And then this is where I would say specialize in treasuries. We can put that at the beginning. We probably should put that at the beginning. Jay tried taking a short and took a pretty big, pretty good hit on the nose there. He also tried it along at the top of the hour, but that one didn't work out so well. And then the E-mini is moving up so far since the open. In fact, now we're at 44.16. Oh, I do hope Ace was able to lock in some of those profits. So it was kind of like what we said, like we're going to get good swings, but probably good swings both ways. Well, actually, now that we're open, we might just continue up. I don't know. I guess it depends on that PMIs, right? How long have you been trading for? Well, I've been trading futures since 2015. So, like, what, 5 years now? It was like late 2015, so let's say 2016. So, yeah, about 5 years. But I've been like into trading and like just watching the markets overall since 2008. But when I worked for the bank, you weren't allowed to like trade futures or anything. So that's why there's kind of that delineation. Was like I got a lot of knowledge and experience before I was actually able to put it in practice. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so she's saying time stream starts I shouldn't even say time stream starts. Stream starts around 8:20 Eastern time when the Treasury market opens. Yeah, they're looking really strong there, man, huh? Look at that. Treasury is not moving as aggressive. They are moving down, but not nearly as aggressively as the ES is running right now, huh? And then here's where we say, make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss it. This as well. And then also bookmark the stream page. That's interesting. I work at a bank in Australia and they do not care one bit what you do. They don't give people free money. Oh, no, it was very, very, very strict. Well, so I worked for Goldman, and yeah, they're very, very strict. Like this whole thing with the Federal Reserve, where they're like, well, yeah, like we make trade. They're able to make trades, but not during the restricted periods and all of these sorts of things. And like those rules are pretty similar to what it would be like for Goldman. Like for Goldman, you take a position, you have to hold it for at least a month. Unless there's a 20% decline, and then you're allowed to take your loss. There's anything that we've worked on recently, if we've done anything for anybody recently, you're not allowed to get into them for a certain amount of time. So that it really severely restricts the world of stocks that you can actually even invest in. And it has to all be pre-approved before you take the trade. It's just like this big thing. Yeah. And then your futures or Forex is absolutely not allowed. Like they set up, you're not allowed to day trade. You say it's not fair that Goldman people can't trade. Well, they felt like that if Goldman people traded, that it wouldn't be fair for the rest of the market. So, all right, you remember Goldman is their thing, like their thing that they pride themselves in is reputation. And so they've always been about going way further than what is required of them. So this whole thing about them getting hit with the lawsuit and that whole fiasco after the financial crisis was a really big deal because it really hit at the core of their identity. Because they were always the best. They were the most effective bank, but they were also like the most strictest and all of those sorts of things. So anyways, yeah, we weren't allowed to trade futures when I was with them. That long didn't pan out, but you just scratch it. That's okay. And of course, when real money comes along, they look the other way and allow shady business. I don't think that that's really what it was at all. I think that the unfortunate reality of the banking system is that sometimes the banking system just creates perverse incentives. And so as much as you talk about it, I mean, literally, it's like every meeting, every week, they're constantly talking about reputation and never doing anything that could ever possibly harm their reputation, even if it's legal or you're not going to do it, right? But there's going to be somebody there or a group of people there in many of these instances that are still going to do it. Or in the case of what was the country where they gave these bonds to this country and that they went bankrupt or whatever, and then that was the more recent one that they got hit on. I think that one was kind of more the bank just kind of being naive about what was going on. So, like it wasn't Greece. Okay, but so it was to pay attention here. We can get the news. I'm not seeing polling for it. Okay. So the manufacturing flash was slightly less than expected. And the services flash was slightly less than expected too. I would say not significantly so, but like 60 spot 5 versus 61. The market doesn't seem to be, well, the E-mini moved a little bit there. Maybe the E-mini is going to move higher. But that might be like a free money forever kind of buy right there in the ES. I don't know. The amount of courses we had to do about do not accept gifts, do not give loans to people who can't pay it back. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so sometimes we stream for some special events. And what was the other thing that they were going to say? And some playlists. Oh, yeah. Beginner videos. At the end here, it'll be getting started playlists. Although I don't necessarily want to direct them to some other part. I want them to stay there, actually. Now that the PMI has been released, I'm going to go and try and scalp NQ. Have fun. It is fun. Maybe I should pull up the Ultra 30s and try and scalp that. That would probably work better. When I do the NQ, I think that me not knowing what direction they're going is a bigger component of whether I make it or not. No, it was like an East Asian country like Singapore or something like that. It was 1 dB. That's what it was. By who? What was the country that was involved? Malaysia. That's right. The bank's Malaysian subsidy admitted in court that it had paid more than $1 billion in bribes to win work raising money for the Malaysian state-owned wealth fund. Oh, were they paying bribes? I thought that there had more to do with they gave them financial instruments that they really should not have. Yeah. Like, so in that case, there were some people in Goldman that did objectively wrong and illegal things, but I think that the bank overall was kind of being a little naive about their involvement over there in general. Is this the British guy who? No, that's something else. Oh man. When you go and look at the CEOs of Goldman, that's an interesting history. You know, so before it was Lloyd Blankfein, right? They had Jerome Corsi, who is super liberal, by the way. Okay, like Corsi is a politician now, or he was a politician at one point. At one point he wanted to equalize all of the bonuses in Goldman. So instead of getting a bonus based on your your performance, he wanted it to be everybody would get an equal amount, which would have been like hundreds of thousands of dollars for somebody like me. It would have been like a huge, crazy windfall, like life-changing windfall. You know what I mean? And but of course that didn't happen. But those were the sorts of things. Those were the sorts of things that happened. And then he changed. Still too loud. There's a new guy working on Financial Juice, and his mic is still too loud. It seems that's the thing, though, they're always naive towards what is. Nah, I don't think that's very fair. So when you're a big bank and you're involved in business all over the world, and you have tens of thousands of employees, even as much as Goldman pushes the reputation and always do the most best thing, and really, like, honestly, I don't like, everybody acts like it's like, oh, they give this space to the public, but then behind the scenes they're all saying do whatever it is that you got to do to make the money. And no, it's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. They are drilling into your head every day. Our reputation matters more to us than anything. Never do anything that would ever possibly harm the firm's reputation, even if it's legal, even if you would make money on it, and whatever the deal is, you're not going to do it. And you know what? I think I took it to heart, because I do the same thing here on this stream, right? So there are times where I'm like, you know, I could make more money by using kind of manipulative advertising tactics to, you know, make up profits or whatever. And there's all sorts of things that I see other people do, or not even that, but like, you know, like I could just say, look at how much money I made today, and put a big number on the thumbnail. And I don't do that. And the reason I don't do that is because I feel that it's manipulative, and I'm taking that lesson that I learned in Goldman, that it's like, you know, even if it would be better for you, and even if it's legal, you don't necessarily do it, right? But the reality is that when you're involved in so much stuff, like, eventually you're gonna screw up. Like, somebody's gonna screw up and do something sketchy, right? Now the issue for Goldman is twofold, right? One is that the first scandal that they got involved in after the financial crisis, which I didn't think was very fair to them. I don't think that they really did anything wrong. Like, they're not obligated. They're just there to provide the product, right? And they're not, you know, whether they were taking the other side or whether it was a wise investment for the person is not necessarily their call. You know, like, would you use the broker if every time that you tried to take a trade, the broker came in and said, no, it's probably not a good trade, you know? But because it was so central to the Big Short and the financial crisis and everything, that gave them a lot of attention. So that was the first one, right? Someone is training. No, they would have to pay me a ton to get me to work for them again, because I would have to give up futures trading. Unless they'd let me trade futures, then I'd be whatever you want, daddy. If a firm came and said, hey Seth, we've watched your stream, we think you're really good, we'd like you to come and execute for us. I don't think that my wife would want to do it. I don't think that she would want to move to Chicago or New York, but I would do my darndest to try and get it to happen, because I would love to trade for a firm. But anyways, so yeah, the first problem was that the first one was really caught a lot of attention. And then the second problem is that when you put so much emphasis on your reputation and being the best and most honest and all of that sort of a thing, when you screw up, people are going to give you more shit for it, right? It's kind of the double-edged sword on that one. So I think that that's kind of what happened with them, because every bank has these kinds of problems. I mean, look at Wells Fargo, man. I mean, the Wells Fargo has been involved in so much. I mean, at Wells Fargo, you know, it was like systemic abuse of consumers that was really bank wide going on, that every banker there was involved in. You know, that sort of thing would never happen at Goldman. Never. I would be so shocked if something like that was happening at Goldman. You know, but. And it gets some media coverage, but it definitely doesn't get as much media coverage as the Goldman Sachs thing did, right? It's just like all of the banks are going to make mistakes, I think, to some extent. I don't think that because there was 2 incidents that says something about Goldman Sachs as a company or their culture or anything. I think that is just kind of more the industry. that where there is great incentive to do wrong, that you as a company, you can do everything that you can to try and prevent it and create a culture where that will never happen, and it will still happen because the incentive for people to do wrong is just so great, right? As long as they make money, they look the other way. No, I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of people looking for this stuff. Another thing that you'll notice about both of these instances is that there was really nothing interesting about them when it was happening, right? Like when the actual transactions took place, there was nothing interesting about it. So it's not surprising to me that those instances flew under the radar. They have lots of watchdogs there and a very, very large compliance team. And you need to realize that at the banks, like, the regulator sits next to you. There's a regulator in charge of like the regulating the trading activity or monitoring or whatever, and they're like in charge of just monitoring Goldman Sachs, and they work there in the building for Goldman. They don't work for Goldman Sachs, but they work there on the building. Like, the regulators sit with them, and they kind of have an odd relationship, right? There's people looking for it, but those were just kind of instances where the controls that they had just weren't good enough. Like, you know, that was just the tiny little thing that slipped through the cracks ended up being a big deal. Do you think if they lost money systematically the same way they earned it, would they have been unaware of what was going on? Well, but in both of those instances, they did lose money from it. Well, I mean, they got the stock price got hit hard and everything. I really don't think it works the way that you're saying. That certainly wasn't my experience. Yeah, I think that they did lose money off of the Malaysia thing in the end. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to convince you. I'm like thinking here, like, well, you're saying that if you were losing money, then that would almost certainly. Well, okay, so like, I think one of the things that's missing in that kind of an analysis of things is that, particularly in the Malaysia scandal, like they were hiding stuff from Goldman too, right? Like, do you ever scalp ES futures? I do. I haven't been taking live trades in ES futures as much lately. In the days where I really think that something interesting is going on in the treasuries that I want to try and take advantage of, I have just ignored the ES, but I think I've largely been ignoring the ES because I've just had a hard time with it. Even when I try doing the aces trades, that doesn't work out for me. Sometimes I'll catch really long runners, but in the low wider scheme of things, I don't know if I have enough edge over there. There's too much randomness. I even tried like super tiny. I could try scalping it for 4 ticks. We probably should in fact do that. Like what we were doing over in the NQ, we should go and look at the ES and see if we can find some, but there might be too many pros pushing the market around for the strategy to work. Well, I don't even think it's just that. It's like, okay, so if I'm trying to look for a mispricing, how do you really get like a true mispricing in ES, right? Like NQ can do it, right? Because NQ like overreacts to everything. But when ES is kind of like the main guy anyways, right? You get a mispricing, and it could just be noise, like because it's an index, it's like 500 different stocks. They could go down and they could go down several points. And it would be just completely random, you know? So I don't even know if it's so much pros as it is that just the nature of an index makes that kind of an informational edge a little bit more difficult to play off of. If I'm going to take a trade in ES, I really want to have an informational edge. I really want to be like, okay, this thing that just happened gives us a very high probability that stocks are going to move up, you know? And sometimes we do get those, but I don't feel like that happens every day. So, I only asked because it's what I want to do. I have a spreadsheet for it. Even with an 83% win rate, I was barely pulling a profit, still working on the strategy. Okay, so you want to be really careful about strategies where your average loser is larger than your average winner. I would very much recommend that if you're going to do like scalping, that you want your winner and your loser to be the same, because if your winners and losers are the same and you're winning most of the time, then you know that you really truly have an edge. And if it's not working that day or something's going on in the market that's affecting your strategy, you're going to notice right away. Because you should be winning like 70% of the time with equal win reward. And that's like you have a true edge, right? So Ace is going long up here at the top, huh? No, he was long at 30, okay. Too late. It's too late. Oh, I'm mad that Jade, did Jade not take a long? No, he did not. He could have. It just it didn't quite get to where he needed it to be. That's unfortunate. could adjust his parameters to be a little bit more forgiving on that, but I don't think I'm going to. I think what I might need to do is well, actually maybe I should, because I think I need to have some filters. Like he should not be trying to take a short right now, right? For sure. Like I'm not sure. What I need to do is I need to create a quantitative like velocity indicator, like an order velocity indicator, that when we're pushing so many contracts along per minute that you don't try fighting that. A better probability of informed trading, essentially. And then that will filter some of those trades out. And then probably what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to make some of the other parameters more forgiving so that we have a larger data sample set to make up for all of the trades that he didn't take. Anyways, what were we? Oh, we were doing before this. We were talking about what we need to put down in the thing. Oh yeah. So I was saying I don't want people to come to the stream and then be like, oh, I want to go and watch this video that he just mentioned. So I need to be careful about that. But what I should do is I should say, chat with others. Right? So you guys can start talking before I even come in. So I think, so what do I have in here? So I have here, I want to tell people all of the stuff about me. I'm a computer programmer by trade, worked at a large bank for 6 years in tech. And then since then, I've been trading futures, which has been about 5 years now. But I've been really into markets since 2008. And my specialty is treasuries and the DOM, interest rates, and news trading. And there are all sorts of great videos on the channel if you want to learn more about that. But the stream will start around 8:20 Eastern time, which is when the treasury market opens, unless it's a special event like the FOMC. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon. My viewers tend to click the bell icon because they don't want to miss a stream. They're here every day. You don't want to miss a video, so make sure you click that bell icon and turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything. Also, be sure to check out all of the links in the video description, including my indicator package, which is the custom-built indicators that I use to trade with, are available if you join the channel, clicking the join button down below for $5 a month. I also have a Patreon where I post cryptocurrency metrics, the Buffett indicator for cryptos. Furthermore, I have an affiliate link for Jigsaw, which is the software I use, and I have a video on that. And I have an affiliate link with the Financial Juice, which is a news squawk that I use. And you can buy this lovely mug. You can buy this lovely mug. And in the meantime, while they're waiting for the stream, you guys can chat with other members, because there are a lot of people will come in and start the stream early, so you can start chatting. There you go. And that's what I have in the video. Is there anything you think I should add to that? Look up titles and thumbnails and stuff. Yeah, well, the thumbnails is a big thing. I think that I need to get, like, a big part of that is, like, basing the video around a particular kind of thumbnail sort of a thing. Stay profitable is a good catchphrase. I think it is, isn't it? Stay profitable, friends. We still got a whole hour. It's only 8. It's only the top of the hour, huh? Well, you know what? We are past the time that I would have expected another large, another rung of the meta order short, and I'm not seeing that. So I think that the downside for the day might be past. Like, I'm not seeing a really strong reason for me to trying to go long rates. And if, I had held through that, like, look, we're well off of the high there in the micros. So I did miss 20 ticks, but it's fine. It implies people are already profitable, which is, well, I mean, it's kind of tongue in cheek, right? Because I'm giving you all the benefit of the doubt when we know that the majority of retail traders have difficulty trading, right? I would ask, how did you find this channel? Especially if it's your first time, you should make sure to say hi. Because we're a small community and we like to know who you are. For sure. I think I can make this. I should maybe bounce some of these ideas off of my wife and parents and see if they have ideas about how I want to present it. Especially my dad, because he's a sales guy. He'll have some ideas on how to sell it. And I think that'll help. And then for well, I think the video that we need to make next is the data video, right? Oh, I found it by typing futures trading in the search bar and put a live filter on, mainly because. And how far up the list was it? Probably wasn't the first one, right? If you were wondering how to improve the channel and are willing to listen to change, you could. Well, we talk about that every day, though, Ace. And I think some of you guys do have some good ideas. But we're talking about specifically the video that would play before every stream. Dennis says, nah, they were all crap. There's one or two. So there's I can tell you who the other guys in the space are. So there was Day Trade Paradise. I don't know if he's streaming now because apparently he was saying that some of his trading was live when they weren't. Not every trade that I take is live, by the way. Most these micros I'm taking them live, but especially when I'm doing these one tickers over here or these ES ones, I've been doing those on sim lately. It's third on the list. There you go. Then there's trades by Matt, and he seems like a genuine guy. I kind of, the way that he trades, I disagree with, but he seems like a genuine guy, and he has a pretty big. He's done better than me, right? He has more viewers than me. And who else is there? There's 2 or 3 other guys that will do futures. I'm probably the only one that you're gonna come in and see a bunch of DOMs, though. That's kind of what makes me unique. Okay, so let's review the information that I put in here for this broker data video that we're going to do. Okay, so if you want to use NinjaTrader 8 to execute, then you probably have to use NinjaTrader brokerage unless you've had a license for a really long time and you're grandfathered in. Currently, NinjaTrader uses CQG Continuum. Okay, no option for Rhythmic at this time. So I asked them yesterday and they said you cannot use Rhythmic with the NinjaTrader as your FCM at this time, And there are currently no plans to change that. So it may be the case that with NinjaTrader, you are just stuck with CQG. So if we get to the point where we want to move over to Rhythmic data, we may have to switch brokers. We might have to open a second account or something. I don't know. But we'll deal with that when it comes. But at this time, it looks like that Rhythmic for NinjaTrader brokerage is not a thing anymore. Okay. Okay. With CQG, you can use their mobile app at your broker, but they have to enable it. They have to turn it on. Same with Jigsaw. If you want to use Jigsaw, you have to enable it, or you have to use the bridge. Right? Yeah, this right here goes up here. NinjaTrader does not. Oh, I can just delete that. Okay. How to use the bridge. Is another, using Jigsaw only is another really good option. Like we're going back, like if Ace was just starting out, well, let's not say just starting out, but if Ace was looking for new software and he wasn't tied into the NinjaTrader and everything like that, I would probably tell him to just use Jigsaw. I would tell him get Jigsaw and just use that, and because their charts provide him with all of the stuff that he uses on your charts, and then you get the good execution on the DOM. Oh, if you use Rhythmic, you can forward data to multiple apps. Okay, so then we put it about right here. I really wish that CQG had a thing like Rhythmic. Maybe at some point they will get it. Maybe we can convince them to do it. Okay. Oh, I already had that thing about only using Jigsaw. TD Ameritrade and Interactive Brokers. So AO, tell me, is there you are using Jigsaw now, right? Is there anything, or you are using NinjaTrader? Is there anything interesting to know about using NinjaTrader and Interactive Brokers together? So, is there anything in any key information that somebody wanting to use Interactive Brokers or TD Ameritrade together with NinjaTrader would want to know? Okay, Dennis, I'm naive. What's the reason for Rhythmic or Jigsaw? Okay, so what Jigsaw is the DOM here, right? So NinjaTrader has a depth of market. Here, let me pull it up here. Where is it? Super DOM dynamic. There you go. NinjaTrader has a DOM, but it's like not half as good. It's just not as good as the Jigsaw DOM. There's all this wasted space, and you don't get these current trades columns, and I don't know. You can add the volume profile over here, but you have to add the columns over here and add volume. And click OK, and then it's all the way over here. Like it's just not as good. And then if you want to put a stop order in, you have to push a key or use middle mouse, and it's just a big pain, right? So Jigsaw has a great DOM. That's why you want to use the Jigsaw DOM. Okay. Now, what disadvantages to Jigsaw? Number one is you have to pay $50 a month to be able to execute on Jigsaw. To be able to place orders with Jigsaw, you have to pay $50 a month. Oh, that's not in there. We need to put that in there. Okay. Monthly fee for Jigsaw. Okay. Yeah. Wynn says, I remember being very curious about how much money I needed to open a day trading account, where the money would go, and how much I would pay for each trade. Very basic stuff, yes. I'm hearing Evergrande headlines come through. Well, anyways, so what was it? What were we saying? Okay, so Jigsaw's good can be off-putting for most people to tell the numbers. Yeah, most people, they want charts, right? So they why not buy your own license? What do you mean? Well, you could go to something else, but like, you know, like say you decided to go over to TT, you'd spend more at TT. Anyways, what was the question again? I'd probably try, say, 20 different demo programs, which I want to say is easy, but most don't do commissions, so you need to calculate it manually. Oh, what's the reason for Rhythmic? Okay, so anyway, so the reason you want to use Jigsaw is for the DOM. The advantage to Rhythmic is that there's this rule where if you have multiple connections to the exchange, that you have to pay the professional fee, which is like $100 a month, right? So to have Jigsaw connected through CQG and then having NinjaTrader and it having its own connection to CQG, you're not like, you have to pay $10 for the extra connection fee, and then you have to pay the professional fee. So instead, what you want to do is forward. So Jigsaw built this thing for NinjaTrader where you put their little indicator in a market analyzer, and that's what I'm using, and it forwards the data to Jigsaw, right? So the data comes in to NinjaTrader, and then NinjaTrader forwards it to Jigsaw, and that way you have only one connection, right? But the problem with that is, what if Jigsaw crashes? Then what if NinjaTrader crashes? Then both NinjaTrader and Jigsaw are down, right? So what if you want to forward to like a third program, right? So Rhythmic, what they allow you to do is they have Rhythmic Trader Pro, and Rhythmic Trader Pro will forward it to multiple different programs using the same kind of technology. So what you can do is you can use Rhythmic Trader Pro and then forward it to both NinjaTrader and Jigsaw. And that's probably the best setup. But then NinjaTrader brokerage doesn't have Rhythmic data available right now. So it's kind of a bum deal. So there's kind of like, what you personally are going to do is like, you know, it's a complicated thing. And yeah, I think the thing that would be best would be, I would like to see NinjaTrader like open up Rhythmic to other people or something. I don't know. Anyways. NinjaTrader with the lifetime license came out to be the best for beginners. I think, could be wrong, but it had the most benefits, most expensive to start though by a mile investment. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's $1,000, right? I mean, I think that the platform is worth $1,000. I have to say, so like the only platform that I really think holds a candle to NinjaTrader is Sierra. Yeah, it'll already beat me to it. I heard Sierra is quite good. The issue with the Sierra charts is that it is not very user-friendly. Like, basically, there's like trying to find an option for something or how to do things in Sierra charts is like really confusing. It's quite a difficult program. Like it took me a good evening to find out like how to even open up charts and stuff, and how to get my DOM set up the way that I wanted it through Sierra charts when I was testing it. And then the other issue with Sierra charts is that it's written in C++, and any of your indicators have to be written in C++, and their API to interface with Sierra charts isn't very good. So it's a lot more difficult to write an indicator for Sierra charts, and as such, the ecosystem around it for custom indicators is not nearly as good as it is for NinjaTrader. Like there's orders of magnitude more things you can download for NinjaTrader, and that's really the thing that is so good for NinjaTrader is you can download indicators. And I always say here on the stream that, like price, there's a lot of noise in it. Most of these price indicators are kind of useless, right? But NinjaTrader is also really good with order flow. And so there's all sorts of crazy stuff we can do with order flow. And there's not a whole lot of those to download out there for free. My indicator package is kind of ahead of the curve on that, I think. But you can make your own, and it's really easy to make your own. And I have videos that show you how to make your own. So Octavia says Sierra still can't match Jigsaw. Well, yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. We're comparing Sierra and NinjaTrader, but Sierra is probably a better comparison for Jigsaw. So it used to be, well, you can do Sierra or Jigsaw, but Sierra is cheaper and you get charts and everything. And so a lot of people went for Sierra. But now Jigsaw also has charts. And I think it's a better platform than Sierra. So, you have a video titled "Resources or Shopping List." I would update this. No. Are you talking about the intro video? Include this. What's this one that you got? Getting started in trading futures. Yeah, we need to redo that video. I think that's one of the videos that we're going to redo. But this video that we're talking about on the data does kind of replace some of that information that we had in the getting started with futures videos. So yeah, that bird is so cute. I need to get the bird out and have him with me more often. I wish Jigsaw had like a mobile version on IO. I do too, actually. I wish that Jigsaw had something for me to monitor my, because I held that trade overnight, right? And I would have liked to have been able to. I mean, I put my stop in and forget it, and I think that that's the best you can do. But it would have been nice to have been able to go on my phone. Now I could enable the phone app. I think that the phone app costs. I think I have to spend $10 to be able to use the phone app. But I could be wrong on that one. Now that I'm on CQG though, and it looks like I'm going to be on CQG for a while. Man, what kids are watching a movie? Why are they watching a movie? You need to turn it down. So we still got 30 minutes. We're good. I'm sitting here thinking like it should be time. No, it's not. We still got plenty of time. No, CQG has the phone app. I was saying I wish that Jigsaw made a phone app. I suppose that they won't do that though, because I'm going to bet that a big portion of their customers now are going to be on CQG now, I think. I don't know. If you're not going to use NinjaTrader, then probably your best setup is to go with AMP or Edge Clear. Actually, I probably would prefer Edge Clear, Rhythmic Data, and Jigsaw. Okay, does the screen you have up now make a candle chart obsolete, or do you still use charts for historical data? So I do not really pay attention to charts too much, really. So I have a screen over here that I will go over to sometimes. with charts on it. You can see I have all of the different treasuries, and I have a bunch of order flow metrics on them, right? So like that's cumulative delta, market buys minus market sells, inventory, which is my own custom indicator that kind of tells you, how much inventory buyers and sellers have at the moment, and spreads. Spreads is important. So spreads is something that I definitely want to keep an eye on, and you want to have a chart to be able to see. A lot of platforms don't have that, by the way. Like NinjaTrader doesn't include one, but it's included in my indicator package, and I have a free version of the spreads out there too. But the main reason for the charts is so that I can run like my custom indicators and stuff. Like the inventory cost basis is a big deal. This one right here is the one that my robot is running on. And I also use it to keep an eye on a bunch of different assets, right? Like I'm not going to have a DOM up for gold and oil and all of these. So I have little charts on it over here so that I can just turn my head over here and look at it and see which way it's generally been going. Looks like gold has gotten hit pretty bad this morning. Did Jay go short today? I can't. No, he did. Yeah. So you want to see here? Let me make it bigger. You can see all of the. Okay, so right here around 7 o'clock, he tried taking it long and got stopped out. So we got a really negative move here before the open. It was a good long. It was just early, right? But then they turned back around and overdid it on the long side. So he tried going short. But here now, more recently, he's gone long and he's getting some out of it. So that's what I was saying, that you can see this is the order flow imbalance that he's using, right? There's kind of a point at which you don't want to go against it, right? I think that this is a situation where you do want to go against it, but not when the flow is so strong. So anyways, so the main reason that I use NinjaTrader 8 is for the programming, right? If Jigsaw gave me access to program my own indicators for the Jigsaw charts, then I would ditch NinjaTrader and I would just use that. And it allowed me to do automated trading, then I would ditch Jigsaw, or I would ditch NinjaTrader and just use that. But AO says he just uses candlesticks in the ATR. So I think the thing you got to be careful with is that like a lot of people try and do analysis like, okay, this candle is really big, or this candle is a inside bar versus an outside, like that stuff doesn't matter. That stuff really doesn't matter so much. But what can happen is that some people are very good at watching the volume on a chart and getting a feel for what the volume is doing in the market and being able to make decisions off of that. I think that you're going to have a much easier time of doing that by just studying the DOM and watching the DOM, or using order flow indicators like cumulative delta. But you can do it. So, yeah. I found I get emotionally attached to charts. Yeah, I don't know. Like the whole thing is that there's just this price doesn't mean anything. Like that is really what it comes down to, is that retail trading has been based on the premise that the market is efficient, and therefore the current price is a pretty good judge of currently available information. And therefore, you should be able to use it to make decisions about what the market thought about a piece of news and where we're going to go and things like that. And the reality is that there's so much random flow out there, and the markets are really dominated by very large institutions that are largely price insensitive. And those random flows can move the markets any which way. And so you get these things like yesterday where the Federal Reserve comes out as hawkish as you can possibly get, and the Treasury yields are still reluctant to move, right? The market's just not efficient. And so when you try and do this analysis of price and you become so attached to what the current price is, you're never going to be able to take advantage of the market inefficiencies that are there, because really what you should be doing is you should be saying, okay, well, this just happened. We should see some selling based off of that, but I'm not seeing orders to sell yet. So either I'm wrong or this is a really good place to go short. And yesterday I said this is a good place to go short, and it worked out, right? But do you think the execution is done with algos or humans? Well, so at a bank that's both. They use combinations of both. And the humans that are executing are very much algorithmically assisted. Like they have algorithms to auto stack and pull for them and stuff like that. Give them a good spot in the queue. Now, the whole game to get it at the front of the queue is a really big part of the robots, because that's what they're really good. If you do news trading, did you enjoy the Chinese real estate company dropping the entire crypto market down 10% a couple of days ago? Well, so we follow Bitcoin very closely. I'm not in it right now. I think that the crypto market is very overvalued right now and has been for some time. I thought the whole Evergrande thing was really interesting because we knew that it was happening like last week, right? And nobody did anything. Like there was just other flows that were going on last week that were more interesting to us. And then all of a sudden on Monday, it was like, oh, the market really cares now, even though there was only ever like a 30% chance that they were going to default, which is another point about it that I find really interesting, that like it appears to me that given the amount of risk that is actually there that something bad was going to happen, that the market overreacted. Because it's only like a 30% chance that they're going to default. And the Chinese did step in. So probably they overreacted. Alligators saying risk on returning. What are they saying in here in the channel? Oh, maybe. It's almost like FOMO is a thing. Well, like what it comes down to, there's actually a lot of research to show that the market almost never acts appropriately, that they'll either overreact or underreact to news. And the reason for that is because liquidity and like you just have to realize that like one order has a way bigger impact on the market than you would ever possibly imagine. Like you think that, oh, it doesn't care about me. And I mean, in the larger scheme of things, it doesn't. But the combination of you and everybody else, it does. And it doesn't take a whole lot for it to have an impact, because the markets are just not as liquid as we would like, or certainly as institutions would like, right? So, especially when you get a news release and all of the market liquidity pulls for the actual news release, right? Where it goes to based off of that news is actually quite random. So you get this thing like yesterday after the FOMC. Do you think that they reacted appropriately to the FOMC? I'm going to say no way. That like the initial move was in the correct direction, but then it completely retraced, and then they held it up there until Powell started saying stuff, and then they moved it down. But it was like as soon as you saw there was something in the statement, it was like that's like the most hawkish case the market barely reacted to it, right? So the market tends to overreact or underreact. And everybody says, oh, it's because markets aren't rational, people aren't rational, and people tend to do certain things and you can take advantage of those patterns. No, it's actually, it's not that. It's that it's the liquidity has a much bigger effect on the markets than that. Like maybe there is psychology and stuff out there, but like, and there is like the whole area of what do they call it? Behavioral finance. But like behavioral finance has not found the same things that technical analysis traders claim, right? It actually, behavioral finance kind of contradicts a lot of the things that technical analysis says, right? One contract on the ES screaming Leroy Jenkins, right? Anyways, but that's why those things happen, is because of liquidity and the impact that orders have on the market. Will tend to lead to an overreaction or an underreaction. You can take advantage of it. That is, if you know, based on the fundamentals, what the reaction should actually be, which is hard, which is really hard, right? Yes, I think I should be able to make a video about both. I'm hoping at least that I can make a video about both the data and the DOM, but I also need to do the yard this weekend, so maybe not. We'll see. I need to talk to my wife about what's going on. I think she's going to be out tomorrow and Saturday, but we'll see. 6K at 20.5, huh? So somebody's still taking some profits in there. Maybe we will get another leg, though. Nassim Nicholas Taleb tweets, an academic reviewer explains my dislike of academics as charlatans with an interventionist mindset and not much common sense, immersed in an unethical game resembling an athletic contest of complicated scholarship to look good, submissive, and dependable for self-serving. My theory on behavioral analysis, as with anything, just comes down to experimental bias. You can't take all parameters into account, I think, whereas technical analysis looks at results, therefore, to me, makes more accurate. Well, so here's where, when you really start getting into like scientifically trying to verify technical analysis, here's the issue that you run into. First of all of the popular technical analysis strategies like just don't work. Like you just go in and you look at it and it's like it doesn't make up for fees. You go through and like if it's an indicator that like came with the software and you test it, it probably doesn't do anything. But then the second thing is there are a few that appear to work, but what will happen is like you didn't have a large enough sample. There's like usually a fat-tailed nature to the distribution, so like it tends to work really well, but then you'll get into this period that you can't anticipate, where it just fails over and over and over again really badly, and that will happen. And so sometimes the technical analysis traders don't factor that in. So what will happen is they'll have some success and they'll go all out and herald it and tell everybody about how great they're doing with price action. And then when they blow up, they don't say anything, you know? So that's kind of the issue with that. Now you get that a lot with order flow too. There's some situations where the order flow just is like will really give you a false, especially in the E-mini. But once you kind of understand the things that have really been empirically shown with order flow, you find it's a much better guide now, right? Every 2 weeks, there's this guy who presses the limits just to stop the trend from not backticking. And no, it does look like another leg is coming in here in the treasury. I mean, there's pretty good stacks when it moved down. I don't know if, given that we have 15 minutes left and everything, I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense for me to try and add risk on here. But we did move up another 10 ticks or so in the micro treasury futures, so I really should have held the risk on. I don't know why I was way too cautious on that. I don't know. Like, was the news really enough to get me out? I think that the news should have been enough to take one contract off, but not both of them. If something can't rally on good news, let's... Oh, by the way, we haven't had the dollar up here. Oh, the dollar is getting creamed today. That's interesting. You would think... I would have thought that the dollar would have been more at like 92.4 today. You would have more edge trading on your own whim than a very disciplined, systematic retail indicator strategy. Yeah, probably, actually. Like I'm just telling, like, if retail traders, if you just went and got the DOM and just read all of the news and tried to trade, you would probably not do too bad. At least compared to a lot of these guys that are trying to use technicals and stuff. Yeah. Dude, I saw this TikTok the other day where they were doing it was basically an EMA crossover strategy. And they were like, oh, look at how great this robot is. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this is awful. Like, it's not actually making very much at all. It was really quite funny. And yet it was still a pretty popular video, apparently. I should have made a video like showing all Jay's entries yesterday. Maybe I'll still do that, because he did really well yesterday. I'll trade an MA crossover. Well, I don't know. The MA crossover thing is really weird to me because it seems like Ace does so well with it, but whenever I try it, I get screwed. It's like, it doesn't work very well for me. So still some absorption at 19 and everything, which is actually good for them, like the seller, if they want more. I don't know how much more is going to come in and sell here, but the amount that has been about 10,000 contracts that traded. Well, okay, so there was 8K at 20.5, so yeah. Wait, okay, you're in a competition. And to win, you must lose the most money. You're only allowed one trade per hour. Oh, okay. You make it. I was gonna say just buy and sell at the current bid and ask as many times as possible, and you will lose money doing that. Okay. To lose the most money. I don't know. That's a really good question, actually. I don't save all of my strategies that lose money. I think, though, if you were looking to lose, that you would kind of end up using a lot of the same sort of strategies that you would for like a contest if you were going to win, right? So like the thing is if it depends on like the time frame and everything, right? one strategy is to just try and go for a YOLO on it, right? Like, I think that the S&P 500 is going to move up really big.
We
Oh,
need
thanks.
the title for today, and this is a great question. Add stickball for the discussion on the uploaded video later.
Yeah, it could be. So hold on. Rates increase further day after FOMC. Hawkish FOMC. Yeah, so one of the ways to go about it is to just try and YOLO it, right? Like, you have the thing that you know is like likely to go the furthest or whatever, and like that's the way that some people do it in these stock competitions, right? Is they go and they take a position in something that might pop off, and then one of them does, and because you're so highly leveraged in that one, then all of a sudden you're at the top. But the longer that the contest is, the less likely it is for that to work for you, like, because you'd have to continue to get big plays like that, and you're kind of pressing it, I guess you could say. You do the reverse of the Holy Grail. So yeah, that's like if I was doing it today, I probably would have come in and said, okay, let's go short the S&P 500. Like that's what I would have done. I would have just like maximum contracts short on ES. Maybe like right before the open. You figured out my plan to get him to confess his trading secrets. One of the problems is that a lot of the things that I've found that are like really empirical are super tiny edges, so they wouldn't give you the best winner or loser. It is a little bit lower there, so you think they'll make it to 16 today? I do say it looks like the 30-year is driving us. We are getting that steepening that we were looking for eventually, so that's good. If we had been like short 5-year and long 30-year, or sorry, short 5-year and long 30-year, that would have been a good trade today, I think. It actually didn't move as far as you would have thought, but the 10-year still seems to be like very pivotal these days. Everybody's interested in the 30-year. It's a little bit more sparse today, by the way. I was just looking at our numbers. I was wondering, we're doing the experiment, like I didn't have the ads on today, right? It doesn't seem to affect the numbers. I can't. Like every time I think maybe it's affecting, then it doesn't. It's weird, really weird. 5K at 18.5. See, I think if I was already short from way back up here, we could have gotten short at 24. That wouldn't have been a bad trade. Maybe I might try and let it go, but I mean those are big icebergs. Like, I don't know, could be tough. But because probably what's going on is everybody's short and people are taking profits. That's probably what's going on. Oh, Salim, he did post me some numbers today. Hey, that's good. 1600 today. That's good. He's had a couple of good days that were pretty positive on NQ. Why is it on that platform it's ENQ and not just NQ? That's weird. Netflix announces Tiger King 2. What? Oh, that's freaking great. Oh, man. That's going to be like one of the biggest pieces of news today. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Anthony Crudelli is going to have a webinar today where he's going to show you how he uses Bollinger Bands, which is actually kind of an interesting subject because the way he does that, I don't think is like straight technical analysis. Okay, so that's a big iceberg. That is a big iceberg. Well, 11K now. And look, the offer is like stacking on it. Like they're still trying to push more into it. Ooh. Well, you got to be careful with that because that could create another big hole. Like maybe they push through a little bit down into here. Down into here, and then they might bounce back up and fill this area in. Janet Yellen is joining Nancy Pelosi at a press conference on the debt ceiling. Oh, Yellen joining Pelosi at presser on debt ceiling and Schumer now. Okay. Oh, now Schumer is on, I guess is what he's saying. That's phrased weird. M. Laban says, I can't recall the last time when I've seen almost every level in the DOM 900 plus. I don't know. It's been 1,000 more recently in ZB, but it is thick. It really looks like the 30-year has been pushed. Like we finally got the steepening. Yeah, okay, so they back off of it. I wonder what that iceberg is about, because I don't think I've ever seen a 4K a lot hit into something and then they didn't get through it. Like that is something else. T's can barely follow today for whatever reason. Short ends glued. We did get a good move down though, right? It's kind of out of the blue, kind of an odd timing for it and everything. That was a good move down. Sad that I missed it, but I think I did my thing, so I can't complain too much. We need some money today. Made up the commissions. I hate it when you have to pay for the data and your account balance goes down $50. So we made that back. So that's good. Still have a little hole from 2 weeks ago that's going to take probably a couple months to dig out of, though. I don't know if we continue to get trades like this. Do you think we'll continue to see like significant rises in the yield curve? Tomorrow we might have some more, because we've seen some moves like that on Fridays. We did last Friday. And then what do we get next week? I don't know. It's time for me to get going though. Hey guys, thank you guys for all your help. I had a good stream today. It was productive, I think. Trying, and expand on those videos and make some good videos this weekend. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.